Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So here's another deck profile for you guys today. This time it's on Red Eyes. I know this has been requested quite a few times, and I figured, you know what, I'll go ahead and take a look at the deck and see if I can do anything to make it as competitive as viable. Personally, I'm not going to be playing this deck that much, obviously, because, I'm more of a competitive player, but again, I still wanted to at least, give you guys a chance to see what I can do with it, and yeah, kind of like just go from there. In general, Red Eyes to me is more of a deck that it's mainly for casual players, but there are ways you can actually give it enough cards just to hold an edge against the other competitive decks this format. So like I said, I did the best I could, and hopefully this works for you guys. So anyway, let's go and get started. So main deck is 40 cards, starting off with 3 copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon, mainly because it's a vanilla monster. You're going to be using Red Eyes Fusion quite a bit in this deck, so yeah, 3 Red Eyes felt like was necessary. 1 copy of Dark Magician, because obviously, if y'all guys couldn't tell, I'm playing Dragoon. 2 copies of Red Eyes Alternative Black Dragon. Last time I was playing this at 1, but now I feel like 2 is the correct number, simply because you summoned it almost similarly as the Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. But this card also has an effect, is that if this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 level 7 or lower Red Eyes monster in your graveyard except Red Eyes Alternative, special summon it, and its attack points become doubled than its original. So that's actually pretty good. Moving on, 3 copies of Black Metal Dragon. So this is one of your searchers. So what's cool about this card is that as long as it's sent to the graveyard, from field to the grave, you can search out a Red Eyes card. So this searches out pretty much everything. And also, it's not once per turn. So not Red Eyes, but Black Metal Dragon is definitely a key staple. And plus, if you're running Red Eyes Slash Dragon, that's even better, because you can just equip this to your Red Eyes Slash and you're good to go. Got quite a few 1-ofs in this deck, actually. Got 1 Darkness Metal Dragon. Honestly, I'm surprised this card's not back at 3 anymore, simply because, it's been errated, but it is what it is. 1 Black Flare Dragon. I've actually seen some builds that run this at 3. I only choose 1 because 3 is just so bricky, honestly. I've tried it out at 3. I didn't like it, so I think 1 is the correct number. 1 Gearfried, not only because it's a warrior monster, but, it actually has a fairly decent effect. But again, it's just mostly for the Red Eyes Slash Dragon, and that's it. 1 Red Eyes Wyvern. So you send this off of Red Eyes Insight. That way, in case something happens to your Red Eyes Dragoon or any of your other Red Eyes monsters, the turn that you don't normal summon, you can banish this card, and then you can special summon that Red Eyes back from your grave. 2 Blackstone of Legend. I wish I had another ultra rare, but I only have 1 holo printing of this. But anyway, this card's just really good for recursion, and plus it becomes discard fodder for your Dragoon. But yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. So that's pretty much it for the Red Eyes engine itself. Now moving on to the other cards. So for the non-Red Eyes cards, 1 Noctivision Dragon, just because, I tried this at 2, but it didn't really work out as well as I thought it was going to. But 1 is still fine, because, if you link it off, you get a free draw. And not to mention, it's also a level 7 monster. That's pretty nice. 1 Neo Kaiser Glider. You just need it for the Meteor, Meteor Black Comet Dragon. And that's pretty much it. But it also has a pretty solid effect where it weakens your opponent's monsters. But it hardly comes up when you really need it to. But anyway, moving on. Now, my tech option is actually the Darkworm package. So I'm going to be running 2 copies of Darkworm and 1 0. So the reason behind this is that you send them off of Dragon Shrine, and then you can special summon it as long as you control no monsters from your graveyard. And then Darkworm essentially gets you access to your Gate 0. Again, discard fodder, but it does have another purpose. So Darkworm's Pendulum effect reads is that once per turn, if you control no monsters, you can place 1 Supreme King Gate Pendulum monster from your deck to the Pendulum Zone, which basically is going to be the Gate 0. And also for the rest of the turn, you cannot Pendulum summon monsters for the rest of the turn except dark monsters, which isn't a problem considering your whole deck is dark. And the reason this is so important is, if for example, if you have multiple level 4 and below monsters, for example, the Black Metal Dragons and the Blackstone of Legend, this essentially bypasses the fact that you need to normal summon. So if you happen to be able to pull out the Pendulum summon, you could actually potentially work with this. So it's really not bad. And not to mention the fact that, it gives you free monsters on board, and then you can kind of go crazy with them however way you want to. But anyway, that's primarily the main source of Darkworm. So yeah, I think it's a pretty cool tech. All right, so for hand traps, running 3 copies of Ash, just to give this deck some disruption, as well as 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. And yeah, that's pretty much it with these. All right, moving on to spells already. I'm running 3 copies of Red Eyes Insight. So you send a Red Eyes from your hand or deck to the grave to search out a Red Eyes spell or trap. 3 copies of Red Eyes Fusion. And of course, I got 1 copy of Magical Eyes Fusion just in case. For draw power, 2 copies of Cards of the Redstone. 2 Dragon Shrines, since you want to send off your dragons as quickly as possible. And for the other, well, for the only other traps I'm running is 1 copy of Red Eyes Fang with Chain, 1 Return of the Red Eyes, and last but not least 1 copy of Red Eye Spirit. It's just more monster reborns basically. And the fact that Red Eye Spirit can also bring back Dragoon is pretty nice. So anyway, that's pretty much the gist of all that. All right, so now moving on to the extra deck. I'm sorry. 2 copies of Dragoon. You could technically get away with this at 1. Honestly, if you want to run like another Red Eyes fusion monster, you could, like that Archfiend, Black Skull Dragon, whatever it's called. That's actually a pretty solid option to try out too. 1 Meteor Black Comet Dragon. I already mentioned what this is pretty much for once before. So, but I'll go and explain it again. So, with this card as fusion summon, you can send a Red Eyes monster from your hand or deck to the grave, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half of its attack points. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can target 1 normal monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So this basically has a cool floating effect. So, but again, I'm just so happy that this card actually got a reprint. This card has not had a reprint for so long, and yeah, it's good that they finally did. So everyone should be able to get access to this card now. 1 Red Eye Slash Dragon, it's just a good for negation. So basically protects you from targeting effects, basically. So that's the whole purpose of Red Eye Slash Dragon. I am running Starting Venom simply because I do run Super Poly on the side, but overall, like, it's only based on the matchups I need to, Moving on, oops, I dropped a card here. Moving on, running 2 copies of Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. So this card is just really neat because of the fact that it forces your opponent to like consider how many effects they want to activate, because they get burned for 500 points of damage for each turn. Not to mention it also has a revival effect where you can bring back a Red Eyes by detecting an Exceeds material. So that's pretty nice. And then from here on out, it's just Link monsters. So for the Links, I have 1 copy of Almirage. Almirage is actually not bad, because especially if you're going to use Black Metal Dragon, so you can normal summon that, send it off of to make Almirage, and you can still go crazy with it. We got 1 copy of Link Spider. This basically plays around Nibiru, but also, like, if I happen to come across that random Dino player and they give me a token, I can just link it off for Link Spider and go from there. 1 Predaplant Verte Anaconda. I am playing IP Masquerena with this, so to go with it, I'm playing the Avermax combo. I'm also running 1 Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. I'm not running Guard Dragon Piste simply because I don't really have a consistent way of using it. So just gonna let you guys know that right now. 1 Triple Burst Dragon, which I still feel like is really nice, and 1 Darkness Metal, the Dragon of Dark Steel. So this is basically what Piste does anyway, so that's why I'm not running Piste. So, and it shouldn't be hard to make this whatsoever. So yeah, I wouldn't worry. All right, now moving on to the side deck. Side deck's fairly self-explanatory. Against Tri Brigade mainly, I got the Artifact Lancia. For any other combo heavy strategy, 2 copies of Nibiru. And I already mentioned I am running Super Poly, so yeah, 2 copies of Super Poly. For back row mainly, it's going to be Twin Twisters, Harpy's Feather Duster, and just a Saki 1-of Called by the Grave. Honestly, I wish that card was back to 3, but it is what it is. Now, my new side tech, and this is primarily for specific builds, mainly Drytron, or anybody who uses the Eldritch strategy in any given way, even the Dogmatica strategy too, Light Imprisoning Mirror. I've actually tested this card out, and it is so nice to try to just mess with people like that. So yeah, Light Imprisoning Mirror, definitely a pretty solid tech. I would definitely recommend trying it out for yourself, just to see if you guys like it. And of course, 1 copy of Red Reboot. I know some people actually want this card banned. I mean, I think 1 is fine, but if it does get banned, I'm going to be genuinely concerned. But anyway, that's pretty much it. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and I will catch you guys again next time.